Ladies and gentlemen, we are live in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all music and wrestling matters. Sportswire Radio, and our guest is here for the first time since he now can call himself a married man. We're going to talk about the married life. We're going to talk about how it feels to be Mrs. Janie Wakefield. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about maybe what else is up in the world of especially Chase Wakefield. Is he still a Bitcoin billionaire? Well, based off that wedding, his investments and his returns would probably say maybe or maybe not. We won't talk about that. But what we will talk about is obviously the historic Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational, an event that is obviously in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame for very good reasons. We're going to get a almost synopsis of what's ahead. We're going to talk about some familiar faces. We're going to talk about maybe some different things, and we'll give you a taste of what's ahead. We'll also talk about the historic best in the yardsticks. Everybody's talking about it. And I know Silas Walker is definitely talking about what he did. I know our guest may not want to talk about it, but that's how it's going to be here on Sports Bar because we have to talk about it. DBW, maybe there's some stuff going on. Maybe there isn't. We'll get into that. Your comments, we'll get into those. And I'm sure somewhere Janie's watching, and we'll talk about the married life. We'll talk about everything that you're wanting here. But before we do that, and I know our guest has become a staple and an institution on Sportswire Radio, but I must give him that introduction, especially because in the famous words of Def Leppard frontman Joe Elliott, let's get rocked, because I see the chat has arrived. He's waiting for it, and he has most certainly helped build Sportswire Radio alongside the companies and the Wrestling Wedding Invitational. He has certainly been a part of Sportswire Radio. He has built this platform, so now it is time to start this show off here. It may be a season of fall, but we're still in the summer vibes here. The heat wave continues, and our guest is going to pack plenty of that here and some. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's start this show off here in style on Sportswire Radio, the number one global radio station where all music and wrestling matters. So, with without further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one global sports show, the man that you can also call Mr. 5.5, the man that has represented some of the most important companies in backyard and underground wrestling history, such as DBW and VTW, the man that we can now call, instead of Mrs., but Mr. Janie Wakefield. His name is simply put, the Bitcoin Beer Chase Wakefield, the now married man, is here, my friend. How are we doing?
Oh man, I'm doing fantastic. I hope you're doing fantastic. And as you can see now, I am
Wow.
officially tied the knot, and it's been a very busy month or so, I'd say.
Yeah, I would think, you're married, you've got a ring to show for it. We'll put some of the photos and social media up. We'll talk about, obviously, Copper Dragon rating you a 5.5. We'll definitely get into you and Maxwell Reeves. He had some things to say about that, I think mostly positive. We'll talk about VTW. You positively probably don't want to talk about Silas Walker, but yet we are. We're going to talk about DBW for a minute or two, but certainly I want to get into it because for those that are listening and watching in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, Chase Wakefield, the platform that you have helped build alongside the many companies, your better half, and also the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational have certainly helped build Sportswire Radio. Talk about, now that it's been a month, how did the show go, and
Oh,
what can we
man.
expect from it?
So the show went fantastic. There was a lot of people who really didn't really get into wrestling. There was a lot of non-wrestling fans there, but
Sure.
we have had a lot of people say that it was one of the greatest weddings that they've been to. We turned a lot of non-fans into fans,
Good.
and there was a lot of cancellations, especially I'd say like the week of the
Yeah.
show, and that's just wrestling, of course.
I
Wrestling is
know.
hard subject to
Unfortunately,
change.
at this level, you're going to get cards subject to change almost the entire thing. Cards subject.
And it's very disheartening, I'd say, but it's some cases were understandable, and we took all these cancellations, we took a lot of the bad, but we made it into a very positive show, and it definitely, for a first show that I've ran, especially for what the day consisted of,
Sure.
it was definitely a unforgettable experience, and I can't wait for everyone to see it. Unfortunately, my PC actually died, and it
That's a
kind
tough
of
thing. I went through that actually.
so
I went
my
through that a few times. Yeah.
my PC bricked on me about a week before the show happened, and
Mm.
we were lucky enough to have a laptop for music and stuff, but
Huh?
it definitely dampened a lot of the progress when it comes to getting the show out. And a lot of people have told me, when's the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational? And it's one of those things where I'm a perfectionist when it comes to
Right.
video production, so it's kind of a, when it's done, it's
It's
done.
done.
And
Yeah.
it when I know it's ready, I will let everyone else know when it's ready. And a lot of the photos definitely helped subside a lot of the lack of content when it comes to the invitational. I know I had a teaser trailer planned, but I've been so busy with my schedule. I only have like a day off nowadays.
Well,
So
you're married now. You got to now take care of the bills. You got to now
yeah,
make sure that the roof stays over your head. So that's why you got to be. You may be worth billions, well, before the wedding, but after, you got to recoup some of your earnings back.
yeah, it went from billions to like $5.25.
Yeah, I believe it. No, listen, that's what they say. They say that the married life certainly, it's like the old Al Bundy thing. But all right, so it'll eventually come out.
Hmm.
And I could certainly understand where you're coming from in the sense that, listen, it's your first show. It's a big wedding invitational. So many people were announced, and that's what happens. But there's a lot of really good stuff, nevertheless, that we'll get a chance to see whenever the time comes that you'll decide to release it.
Most definitely, and a lot of the people, especially like guys like Bill Bain,
Oh,
coming.
man, I can't wait for that.
He was an absolute professional, and he was so great on the show. Guys like Naeem. We have
Yes.
guys like Zach Zander on the show.
Peanut butter and jealous, right? You had
Peanut Butter and Jealous. We even had Anton and Van Hansen show up.
Oh, yes, and Van was on here. We spoke about that actually. We spoke about, he was here a couple weeks ago, right after Labor Day.
Yeah.
And he spoke about just how happy he was to be there and to be a part of it. And he considered you a friend, and you were basically like right a neighbor of his. And we spoke about that in the past. And he was the one guy that he just had to drive a few minutes to show up to the wedding. He could have been one of the spectators. Then
Yeah,
decided to
it's actually funny because the where we live,
Yeah, he mentioned it's like
Our
15 minutes, right? 15
Yeah,
minutes, 15
our
minutes together.
apartments actually are owned by the same company.
Oh,
So
wow.
we're so close to each other. We see each other on not I'd say a daily basis, but we
Wow.
definitely see each other outside of shows all the time, and
So
it's
you
always a
had to
great
listen,
time.
you had to have had Mr. V to the H. You had
Oh
to have
yeah,
had him because he's
definitely.
like a neighbor practically. I mean, you had if you didn't have him show up and wrestle, boy, you would have heard
He was
that.
he was the closest wrestler out of everyone
Yeah,
that
he said
showed
that.
up.
He said that there were people that traveled hours upon hours to show up, and he was like, "Oh, I just went the next one over, and I was there in
Yeah,
15 minutes." He kind of just was funny the way
exactly.
he said it.
Yeah, he just hopped in his car about 4 minutes and he was there. I didn't have to worry about him being late.
That's pretty cool that you had him there. Obviously, we saw some of the photos, and obviously there were some people I know that you'll be excited to talk about. Obviously, some you won't, like Silas Walker. But listen, I think it's great, and I think we're all when that time comes, we're gonna be very excited and eagerly anticipating some of those matches. I think Peanut Butter and Jealous. I think people are gonna get a kick out of them. I have no doubt them
Oh
being a
yeah.
part of because they're in
And
a lot of places, and you got them. That's a big coup there.
I will say the person who did photography, Kalina,
Yes, I know
she
Khalid.
did
She
a
does like 814, right? She does.
A1
Yep.
Battlefield. I think she even did Three Legacies before.
I think she
She
did
was a
3LW. She's done a lot, a company I can't say with three initials that used to be a place run in a certain building. Yeah, yes.
yeah, and she did absolutely phenomenal. She took over 10,000 photos and
Wow. Is that
she
like such
got
a thing you can take that many?
Yeah, I actually went to the first Forbidden Door in Chicago, and
Okay.
I was right by the entranceway, kind of like front row, like a few rows back. And I actually talked to the photographer that does a lot of the AEW shows, and they have like hundreds of SSD cards in a pouch,
Wow.
and when that SSD card gets full, they swap it with an empty one, and they have hundreds of thousands of photos of just the show.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
and the she got those out so quick, and I was very happy with the results, and definitely whenever I have more shows in the future, which that's the plan for next year, is to have more shows. She'll definitely
Time out.
be.
Did you wait. Let me do this. Time out. Did
Yeah.
you just say that you hope to run more shows next year, or am I hearing things?
I will say, next year will be pretty interesting for myself. I had so much fun trying to create this card, running the show, and everything went so smooth that I feel like I can probably get something going for next year, I'd say.
Well, is there that's wow. So the fact that you after doing this is not just a one-off. So this is going to be almost like ECW where ECW famously had one night stand and it led to a revival of ECW. So you mean to tell me that the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational, this isn't just a one-off. This is something where you're going to run shows and it's going to be almost a thing. I don't know what you're going to call it. You can't keep calling it the Chase Wakefield Wedding
No,
Invitational, but
I can't have multiple weddings, unfortunately, because that was such a fun day, and I wish that we could go back to it
yeah.
and enjoy it. But yeah, this was a lot of testing the waters when it comes to me running a show and seeing how it went. And I got a lot of positive feedback, and it made me think, maybe I should start looking
Well, why
into.
not? You know what? The way I look at listen, I'm all wrestling matters, and I think why not? Because you give a chance for people to get an opportunity to go out there and wrestle. You give people an opportunity to gain more exposure. I mean, I have been for years one of the biggest supporters of that. I truly believe that if there's a way to connect more people, and you mentioned names certainly like Bill Bain being a part of the show, but I think about Peanut Butter and Jealous. You talked about Naeem, the Dream Brooks. You talked about just some other names that will get a chance to, Van Hansen, Anton Nathan, another guy that's, a huge part of the rankings that you see that are out there from Kings and Queens Wrestling. I mean, in the lightweight division, I mean, that would be, I think, a great idea. And I think why not give more people opportunities? And, you never know what could come out of it.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a lot of local wrestling friends around, so especially I could definitely turn out something pretty
Well, I think what's cool
spectacular.
about where you are too is that that Pennsylvania, Maryland, Ohio, you have connections up in even upstate New York, North Carolina. I think that you could really do something that could connect maybe guys that have wrestled in places in Pennsylvania, guys that have been in
Exactly.
places even in West Virginia. I think about
Yeah,
Ohio. I mean, you have that web. You have a web of where you could connect a lot of different people that otherwise maybe they wouldn't have been connected.
exactly. And also there was a bunch of people that I did want on the show as well, and some of them had some uh injuries, and some of them
Mhm.
have like some personal problems that they couldn't make it to the show.
Sure.
Um, like for example, not to like peel the curtain too back, but
Yeah,
I
because
had
somebody all of a sudden will now. Oh, you said that on Sportswire. We don't
yeah
want to go down that road.
some of the guys that I actually had coming, but had some unfortunate reasons to decline with guys like D Savage.
Yeah. He was wrestling
Yeah,
Ace Austin, by the way. It was a
exactly.
big deal for that. Congratulations.
Another guy that we talked about, but due to travel and just being at the wrong place at the wrong time, was Donovan Dijak as well.
Yes. Yes,
He,
absolutely.
he had a flight from Mexico to Boston, and he said if Boston was a lot closer to Shippensburg, then he would have been able to do it. But I've spoken to a lot of decently named guys that were interested in the wedding invitational, and I know that we have a rapport now, and that I could possibly get in the future as well.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that you were able to connect with a lot of people, whether it was through this platform or maybe talking about the wedding invitational. I know there was a lot of names talked about. I think about the guys in New York like Torrance Banks and Shock.
Hmm.
And I think about Mickey Vargas, who was in New York but now is in Texas. We kind of spoke
Yeah,
about that. The logistics didn't work there. I know D'Angelo LaFlame being in Texas. That's another one that we all were really hyped up about. But things are the way they are. You talked about again Savage. Savage is actually in your state. He's a champion, and
yep,
but that's just bookings. And I know other names were mentioned, but at least you got a chance to connect with them. And
exactly.
maybe next year and whatever you decide to do, there's a possibility that maybe you do it, and we'll certainly talk about it, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm very excited for what the future holds, and it will definitely be a very exciting time come 2026.
Absolutely. And I know there's some people here in the chat. I'm going to get to them. I do want to, because we have an Instagram page, which I'd like people to get in touch with. We're going to put the YouTube link up certainly in a little bit. But this is the Chase Wakefield Invitational. That is his Instagram page. Check it out. You'll see some other stuff. Some guys you've seen on this platform. Ace Christian, a guy certainly going in places. You've got Silas Walker, who, boy, what a last couple of big shows he's had. Peanut Butter and Jealous, obviously. Hammer Time and Andrew Lovelace, boy, the be all end all, and Max Hammer himself, boy. Just there's even more names ahead. Van Hansen, V to the H was here. We spoke about him, and just really some really fine talent. And we'll say hello to some people shortly. But so I got to ask you then, since I put that up. But the main question you and I were kind of joking about was, so how is married life? It's been a month. And
Oh,
I have to ask you, I mean, how is the married life going? There's some people here that are married, some people that are not in this chat. And so how's the married life?
it's been great. I mean, everything that
Anything but great that you would have said, you would have been, you would have heard about that.
yeah, I probably would have gotten a visit from next door in the other room.
Oh, she's
Um,
eavesdropping, I'm sure.
but no, it's been great, and it's been everything that I've hoped so far, and I think it's only going to get better. No kids yet,
Oh, I
but
was going
who
to
knows?
ask you. I mean, are we going to see a little baby Chase Wakefield on the way? And
Not
maybe we're
not
going to.
just yet, not just yet, but
No.
who knows what comes in the future?
Well, I mean, listen, obviously, we want to see offspring of yours go out there and do what you've done in your career. And, everybody's, that's going to be the next question. When will we see the offspring of Mr. and Mrs. Wakefield? We look at obviously what Ace Christian has done as an offspring, Felix Jones in the IMF with Soldier GP, although Justin Parsley was, certainly not going there with that. But I mean, it's a thing that certainly everybody talks about in this sport. I mean, there's a long list of names with offspring, and naturally you would be one of those names, Joe Stone and the Underground OG Darkron. I mean, there's just
Yep.
a lot of names that we could certainly mention, and you would definitely be at the top of the list for future offspring wrestlers, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, you never know what the offspring will do in the future, but they will definitely be wrestling coded. I know I work I do night shifts, so
Oh, wow.
essentially when she's asleep, I'll be able to get my offspring or my child to watch Chase Wakefield matches or watch
Yeah,
an old.
that, listen, when you have a kid, whether it's a son or a daughter, they're going to be watching your footage. They may not watch Best in the Yard 6, the outcome of it, but they're going to be watching many of your matches. They'll watch the Copper Dragon rating, I'm sure. There'll be a lot of stuff that you'll put out there, no question.
I have a long laundry list of things to show them whenever the time comes.
Well, I think that would be very exciting, and I'm sure we'll talk more about the Wedding Invitational in a while. But I did want to talk about Copper Dragon. I wanted to talk about the match that you had with Maxwell Reeves, and he had a lot of positive things to say about it, and I wanted to put it up on the screen. I'm not going to put the volume up for it, but I want to get your perspective just on what you thought about it and just overall opinions, because he had some interesting things to say about maybe after the match and such, what it could be. But I'm sure you've gotten a chance to watch what Copper Dragon had to say about the match, and what was your overall impressions of it, and maybe reliving a match that I really think was a cool moment here in the backyard in the underground wrestling circuit with Maxwell Reeves.
Oh yeah, for sure. And this definitely took me by surprise because I had no clue that Cop Dragon was going to do a review.
Well,
And
I should probably spoil it for you, but you're welcome.
oh, okay.
I
And
handpicked it, actually. I actually am one of the people that subscribes to his Patreon page. So
oh,
you
okay.
asked me what matches, and the ones you saw, maybe with the exception, I think maybe of the WCE one. I don't think that was mine, but it was the matches that he reviewed. I'm pretty sure most of them had thought he should look at them. So it was IMF, Shots of War. I think it was we had the tag match with the guys from Buffalo, Mickey Vargas, and your match. And I really thought that it would be a great moment to have a man like him review your match. So I just thought it would have been a cool thing to
Yeah,
talk.
it's definitely pretty cool because I don't think I've had a match reviewed by him yet. So it was pretty cool
Yeah.
seeing this, and definitely got a lot of great feedback. Definitely looking back, I definitely showed a bit of ring rust when it came to that trampoline,
He
but
said that
you
you
never
hadn't
know.
been on a trampoline. You said it here. You hadn't been on a trampoline in like a decade. I mean,
Yeah, it,
that took a lot. I know, people say, oh, this, or that, but you know what? You were doing something that was out of your comfort zone.
I remember when I went up to Ben Salem. It was it is it Ben Salem or Bethlehem? Ben
Ben
is
Salem.
it
It's Ben Salem.
Ben Salem? I was just checking. I didn't want to say the wrong town. Um, but when I went up there, it's a beautiful neighborhood. I would say
Yeah,
it's
I've heard a
definitely.
lot. Yeah.
I was surprised, and when I stepped in that trampoline, it brought back a lot of memories, and it felt very weird because with a ring, it's solid and everything like that. So I almost had to regain a new footing when it came to this, and their trampoline was a bit more loose, so that was
Hmm.
another thing that kind of threw me off a little bit, but. Nevertheless, I was very glad I actually went up there. Got to talk to the guys like
Yeah.
Maxwell, Tsunami.
Love
Um,
those guys. Love those guys. They've all
definitely
been on here a bunch of times over the past several months for sure.
Maxwell and Tsunami were actually two guys that actually wanted to come to the wedding invitational to actually
Yeah,
gain an
I think I
opportunity.
talked about that with them off the air. I feel like that was a topic. Sure.
And unfortunately, they couldn't make it because they had to go to an Oasis concert, and I was
Well,
like, okay,
Oasis. I mean,
fair,
listen,
that's
Oasis
fair.
don't tour often, and they weren't alive when Oasis was really popular. In fact, there's some people in this chat that weren't really when Oasis was really a thing in the
Yeah,
'90s. So it's a big deal.
whenever they told me they were going to the Oasis show, I was like, okay, that's fair, that's fair. I would have done the same thing, but
Yeah,
no, it was very it was great to see the knowledge that they took in, especially Maxwell,
yeah,
for being so new when it comes to the psychology and the technical stuff that you don't really get when it comes to watching matches on YouTube or anything like
yeah.
that. Um, Definitely, I felt like I really helped with a lot of their production. I gave them some tips on how to make their matches more streamlined and run better, more smoothly. Um, and it was just a great overall experience. I received a lot of like some negativity whenever I told some people about it, and whenever the match went live. But I always say, like, especially with the run that I'm doing right now, I just want to have fun and do some
Yeah,
new
I think
things
that's
that
what it
I've
should
never
be.
done
I know
before.
what you're saying. There is this divide between trampoline and in the ring, and I'm not going to get into that. That's
Yeah,
up to the people to decide. But I think it was a cool moment because it was kind of where let's see what one person who's done a lot of things could do against an up and comer. And I think that it is important to help out those like a Maxwell Reeves or a Tsunami or, Tommy Good or Caden Gallows. And I think that that's what you do. You pass the torch. And I think that to see you there on the trampoline. James Taylor, I know is been on the trampoline with BCW and BYCW, and I think that to me, it's all wrestling matters. So I think it was great. Look, ultimately, people are entitled to anything that they want, but I think it was a cool moment, and I think that the guys in BCW are awesome, and we love having them on here. We've had a great relationship with them over the past year, and I just think it was just a really cool thing to see.
yeah, definitely, and I definitely will eventually come back to them.
Well, he talked about that. He would like to see you and Maxwell this time for a championship on the line. That was what I wanted to get to. I mean, he kind of left the door open that he would like to see more of it, and I thought that was great.
Yeah, and another thing too is we were kind of short on time when it came to this. I actually came during Mother's Day.
Yeah, I
And
remember you were here a few times after that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was during Mother's Day, and they had like a dinner to do with their family and stuff. So we had to kind of cut things short. But I remember I told Max, I was like, next time we get in together, we're gonna go all out. We're gonna do some stuff that you guys haven't particularly seen in your company before, and I hope you're ready. And it's funny too because whenever I meet someone that is fairly new to the business, I always ask to like give me like a chop just to see where they're at.
Yeah. I remember you spoke
Um,
about this on here. Sure.
he chopped me, and I was like, "That's actually not too bad. That's not too bad." And then I gave him a chop, and he said that it was one of the hardest chops he ever felt in his life. And I was like, "Welcome to the wrestling business, brother." And
I think that's a cool thing. But I think listen, Maxwell Reeves and those guys, you gave them an endorsement. You gave them what it should be a passing of the torch. I mean, we're all on the same team, and I think that it's great that you did it. And I think Copper, that's why he felt the same way. And I think that people would like to see more of it. And I think it was a good match. I think it was a really fun match. I think that it should be about fun. I mean, look, again, I'm not going to get into it. People have every right to think the way they want. And I'm not saying there's no right or wrong way, but I really thought it was a great moment because I thought also BCW was red hot at the time and they still are. You were coming in there and they've got a lot of momentum. They've gained a lot of subscribers. They've gained a lot of exposure. A lot of people talk about them. A lot of people watch their content. They have a lot of fans. And they're one of the up and coming companies around in the backyard in the underground. And look, they're a shining a shining star right now. I think in the backyard in the underground circuit, there's been, I'm not going to get into it. A lot of things have happened in the last year, and it's okay. But I think with what you doing going there, I just think it was a great moment, and I think we want to see more. Hopefully,
Yeah, I know. I definitely want to explore more in BCW. Definitely want to get in there with guys like Tsunami, of course. I see a lot of potential in all those guys there.
yep.
Um, they just gotta they just gotta keep going and improving on themselves and taking as much criticism, even
And
if
you've
it's
been
bad
there
or
in that
good.
spot too. That's the other thing. You've been there in that spot. Obviously, DBW. We know DBW's amazing success. VTW. We're going to talk about Best in the Yard after the other side of the chat. But I mean, you now have wrestled in some of the bigger companies around, period, in the underground, in the backyard. Think about it, right? DBW. Got my DBW shirt on. I'm prepared. VTW. I mean, the massive following VTW has now been a part of BCW. I mean, I think that's also another feather under your cap almost.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm just really excited to see where I go next. It may be back in BCW. It may be even in the Midwest. You never know.
There's a lot of great companies out there. There's so many great companies out there that, I mean, it could be anywhere you show up. But I think that's why it was a great moment. And I got to ask you one more question. 5.5. So how did you feel about the 5.5 rating?
I mean, it was definitely fair. It it was. I don't want to per se
Because some guys get
shoot it
mad at his
down.
scores. Others are like, there are some people that in the past have gotten the scores that they were like adamant about, and others are like, hey, this is just they were like, happy as could be.
So for me, I don't necessarily care about like if a match gets this many stars or anything like that. I mostly care about like if a person enjoys it.
That's a
That's
good
the
point.
main thing. And I could go on and make it my gimmick where I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm Mr. 5.5 stars," or I could be like some people and be Mr. 7-star superstar. You never know, but it's I'm not too bothered on if someone says, "Oh yeah, this is a 7-star match" or "This is a 1-star match." As long as one person enjoys it, then I did my job.
That's it.
And
That's like what a lot of the musicians I have come on the platform, and we talk about, oh, you had this song that was a hit, or this album sold that much, and really, it's not about that. And I think that's really some good advice. That's some good advice for people. And Copper, one of the things I will say about his ratings, which he does them to help actually everybody. His rating score isn't necessarily to pick on someone. It's more of a way to try to help them. And I think that's what he tries to do. And it's always an honor to speak to him and have him doing these things. So please support Copper because I'm a sponsor on them. So I'm going to put Copper's link up here because if you want your match to be reviewed, well, I'm the man that could help you do that. I'm the man that could talk to you on behalf of Mr. Dragon because I do speak to him from time to time. And he loves all the companies, all the wrestlers that come on the platform. And he's a big fan. And we want to thank Mr. Dragon for all of his support. So that's his Instagram page. Let's get to some people here in the chat. I'll eventually give you something, Mr. Wakefield. We'll talk about
okay,
some other things. But yeah. Silas Walker is not going to come in the chat. That's not what I'm going to give you. But I'm going to give you some comments first. Zilla's in the house. How you doing, Zilla? Thank you, Zilla, for being here as always. Zilla is one of our OGs. Speaking of the underground OGs, whose career is going to end in the next year. So if you do have bucket list moments, you want to travel to the Midwest, the underground OG, this is it. He's only got a little less than a year left in his in-ring career. So if you want to wrestle somebody like him, you better start thinking about it.
oh yeah, for sure. I definitely had to speak to Darkon to see if we can
Yeah.
get something going before
Yeah.
he hangs it up.
Well, I think that we could certainly make that happen, and I think that one of the companies that he wrestles in, I'm sure, is here, and they could also make that happen. So we'll come back to that. Also, he does want to congratulate you on the wedding and the wrestling show. Yeah, I think it was a really cool thing. I think it was still, regardless of what happens with it and when it airs, I think just the fact that you did something like this on the day of getting married, I just think it's a really cool thing. And it's like you said, I don't think it really matters on whether people canceled or not, or whether how many matches happened or whatever happened on the fly. I think the fact that you accomplished this is a tremendous testament of your drive and desire and your support of all wrestling matters. And we thank you very much for that. And hello, hello. And yes, if you want to follow the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational on Instagram, please do so. We'll put the YouTube of Chase Wakefield up shortly as well. There is somebody that is a part of it. Do you want to say anything about Mr. Colton Lee, the Heartless Sheriff? Do you want to say anything about
I
him?
mean, I will say Colton Lee did phenomenal at the wedding invitational,
Mhm.
and he has definitely improved so much than when I first met him. And I hope I could see more from him at other places, and I can't wait to see him at DBW.
Yeah, you know what? DBW is something that I really I anticipate toward the end of the year. We're going to talk a lot more on Sportswire. I have a really good inclination on that. Speaking of people that I think I can say were a part of this wedding invitational, and his company is going to be here tomorrow night at around between 9 and 9:30. Where Magnum Carter, the MC of the 1-2-3, certainly we're hoping Magnum Carter is doing okay. Obviously, he's been battling some health issues, some significant health issues, and we're praying for his recovery. He'll talk about some of that, I'm sure, tomorrow. But headline, Aaron Blaze in the chat, and I hear headline that he was a part of this thing.
Oh, I can't get into anything too specific,
Yeah, but I
but
heard something about it. That's all. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I
he
heard
may
something.
have been in attendance and watched the show,
Did you
but
have him as one of the group that you now? Was he your best man?
no, no.
Why not? Why not? I mean, that would have got the view. The views would really go up if he would be your best man.
Oh no, there's probably like 50 people that would come before Aaron Blaze. No offense.
No, well, you know what? What do I know? I've only been to in my entire life. I've only been to one wedding, and that was my mother getting remarried down the block from me, and I really wasn't feeling it. Growing up in Brooklyn, there wasn't many opportunities to go to weddings. We had family members that were dead, not around. So the fact that you did have a big wedding where so many people got to show up,
Yeah,
I'm almost envious of you.
I
I'm
will
envious.
say that he did stay at this place at my apartment, and
Very nice. Wow.
he slept
Congratulations.
out on a deflated air mattress that just
Okay,
kept
now I'm not
deflating.
envious at all because I would not have wanted to do that. And when you had the wedding, which was 1 month ago from today, I had just been coming off tooth surgery, and I
Oh
still am
yeah,
feeling the impact of it because I have an inflamed gum. And we were here with Rad Dad, and we were here with him, and I had just started to feel like my mouth was sort of getting normal. I did my intro finally, but yeah, that was unfortunate. I had a shotgun go through my mouth from the
mm.
dentist, but I have an inflamed gum, and oh, by the way, I have to go back on Monday. But speaking of people that could make a match happen with you and the Underground OG, he's from the Midwest. He's from Ohio. He is the proprietor of the EWA. It's a company that has some rising stars like Kenny Ice Collins, their champion, Carlos Jackson, DJ Storm. Also got some guys you probably heard of like Jason Storm, Big Man
Oh, okay.
Cam, Matthew
Oh,
Forsaken. Yeah, some really heavy hitters. Used to be
that's a
famous.
name I haven't heard in a while. Big Man
Yeah.
Cam.
Well, guess what? You could maybe have that match there in Ohio. They've got a mix, kind of like it's funny, almost in a way with what you had almost done with the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitation. They have a mix of guys that are indie, a mix of guys that are underground, almost a hodgepodge of almost like all flavors of the wrestling circuit. And if you'd like to hit the sub button for them, and maybe that could be a place you'd show up one day.
I would definitely love to. Ohio is definitely a state I haven't been to, let alone wrestle at. So I'd love to see what Ohio has to offer.
Yeah, and he's by Cleveland. He's by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and
Oh wow.
yeah, he's exciting place. Darkron's there. Like I said, Matthew Forsaken, some really big names, a nice little mix of talents. Joe Payne, no pain, no gain. And speaking of people, I have to go break the chat for a second. I have to say hello to the legendary deathmatch juggalo himself, Mr. Brian Cummings, a man that has been on this platform many times, and a man that I hope he's not got any glass in his back that he's pulling out of. But one of the OGs, seen him in so many places, IWA, and just all across this great country, and one of our favorites. And we say hello to the deathmatch juggalo, and he says support wrestling. I could not have said it any better.
100%.
And everybody, yes, and yes, I wholeheartedly endorse that. Let's get to some more people. Hello. Congratulations from Zilla. Thank you, Zilla, for giving the big boy there some encouragement. And hello. Also, in a rather unheartless like way, I can't thank Chase enough for that match at his wedding. Well, I mean, obviously, we won't know yet about that. We'll know when this thing gets released down the road, hopefully before the end of 2025. But he thanks you at least in a rare, unheartless like way.
Yeah, and I always want everyone to do their best when it comes to every show and every match. But I specifically wanted Tex to go out there and really put himself out there and showcase himself, because Tex is very underrated when it comes to a lot of things.
Absolutely.
And
No, he's come a long way. I remember when he first came on here about 2 years ago, right around this time, and he had just really had been only starting out wrestling. He had a little bit of experience, but look at how far he's come now, and look at where he's going to go. I think we're going to see it, whether it's at the end of this year or certainly into next year. I couldn't agree more.
I definitely agree with that. And it just takes the right person to make Tex who Tex really is. I'm sorry, I keep calling him Tex, but
yeah, you better not do that, because he's gonna not give you any more nice comments. And then when DBW returns, or if he shows up in a VTW ring at some point when you're there, he's gonna definitely remind you.
Hey, I've taken a crazy thing from Colton Lee every so often, especially in that penitentiary match.
Yep, I remember. Oh, I remember. Listen, let me tell you, you were a part of that. It feels like so long ago, but yeah. It feels like so long. Where is the time
But
gone?
I was definitely proud of what Colton Lee did at the wedding invitational, and I can't wait for people to find out who he wrestled, and can't wait for you guys to see that match.
I can't wait. Again, we got a little taste of what happened with Van Hansen. Talked about it briefly because he's like, I don't really care, and I want to talk about it. And I mean, I'm sure there'll be some other names. Silas Walker, we saw his picture there. I mean, man, I know you don't really want to talk about, but thank you, Twitch, for this comment. I don't know what much of it is, but whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Hashtag all wrestling matters. I couldn't agree more as well. And this is kind of a funny one here. Could BCW hold my weight? Could the trampoline
they might have a few springs broken, but you might have to check the specs of the trampoline.
Well, you know what? Listen, I mean, I think Sean Jovi had mentioned that here previously on Sportswire. Could he get back on a trampoline due to his weight? And I think the Heartless Sheriff may have the same thought, but who knows? And like I said, Mr. Jenkins, certainly his attention certainly sparked some interest about what you said. And maybe you need a road trip in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
Would the missus allow you, though, for a certain road trip?
It depends. It depends what it is. She'll definitely probably want to come.
Yeah, I'm sure you're going to talk about it when the time comes, because I saw a few things out there, but I'm not going to spoil it. We're not going to talk about it, but I think that could certainly be when the time comes. We're all going to be excited to talk about that. Please follow Copper on Instagram. Please check out some of his content. You'll see some matches that I think should be reviewed, and I hope you'll join me in supporting. Speaking of people, I thought you would have been at the IMF show. Well, actually, what time is it? 8:45. Did Ring of Champions just end? Did Ring of Champions end, and you're on site or what? So that would be a good question. And also, you look like almost like a knockoff brand of Dominic Mysterio. Now,
hey, Dom. Listen, I'll take it. Dominic has a very lucky life. He has
you too.
I mean, there's a lot of similarities, so I'll take it. I'll
I'll
take
take
the.
your misses though over Rhea in the past and Liv and you know
Listen, that's very messy. That's a very messy situation.
yeah, well, that's why you're at least not in that situation. But obviously, don't doubt Chase Wakefield. None taken. Thank you very much. Hello to Princess Jade, and wanted to say hello. Thank you very much for the deathmatch Juggalo. We gotta get the deathmatch Juggalo back on because especially after Kato being announced in the Carnage Cup, I'd be curious what the deathmatch Juggalo thought about that. And I'd do it again, brother. Deflated mat can't hurt me, bro. So does it hurt to sleep on a deflated mat? What do I know?
It's very you get sore, I'd say.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, have never slept on a deflated mat before. So I don't even think I've slept on a mat period once. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I've slept on a
I've
couch. I've slept on a couch. I mean, that
I've
I've
had
done.
my fair share of deflated mattresses in the
Well,
past.
you obviously now being married, certainly your returns now on your account have been deflated because you had to pay for the wedding. But hit the sub button for the EWA. I'd appreciate that very much. We agree. Thank you to the Deathmatch Juggalo. And I'm a little sore from Sunday, but great. By the way, dry ice sucks. That is all. By the way, dry
Oh,
ice. Yeah, I would never have guessed that such
you
a thing. Dry
you
ice.
know, it's funny. One of the ideas I had for the penitentiary match was to take a back bump onto dry ice.
Oh my
So
God.
I'm glad that other people have thought the same thing, and I'm glad I didn't do it because it sounds very painful.
Well, it sounds like that would be even more painful than even what I had last month at the dentist. And hello to the Deathmatch Juggalo, Mr. Brian White. And speaking of people that haven't seen around Scorpion the Assassin from my state, good evening to both of you gentlemen. Glad to see both of you doing well. And congratulations on the wedding. And he would like to say hello. And anything you want to say about our assassin?
All I gotta say is I miss him. I haven't seen him in a long
I was
time.
gonna say
I
it's been a
hope.
minute. Although I think we follow each other on TikTok. I see it more on TikTok than anywhere else.
I actually see a few of his videos pop up on my For You page, and it's funny because I don't think I really have too many mutual followers when it comes to him. So it just pops up naturally for me, and I'm surprised. And I hope I get to see the assassin sometime in the future because every time he's there, it's always a great time to be around him. And he's
Yeah.
been such a great friend and such a great
Love that.
mentor from time to time.
Yeah, I always like talking to him off the air. He gave me some good pointers on Instagram. Really a calming voice. I really like him a lot. Really a good dude. Good dude.
He's willing to give you the criticism if you want. He's willing not to hold back. And that's what I like about him is how blunt he is on a lot of things, and it definitely has made me a better person all around when it comes to in ring and out of the ring as well. And I can't thank Scorpion enough.
Well, that's why he's a scorpion and an assassin. And honestly, either name is fine. So he's giving you a pass tonight. And we need to link up. Yeah, definitely. I'll talk to you off the air, off on Facebook. Yeah, we'll figure out. That could be arranged. I see some people here in the chat I haven't had on in a while, like the Heartless Sheriff. I'm sure I'd like to talk to him. I'd like to talk to the Deathmatch Juggalo, and maybe we'll make that happen. Oh, you didn't go tonight. I'm surprised. But I'm getting told who won. And so, okay, well, that's great. Well, don't tell us who won and such, but I'm sure we'll talk about it when the time comes. I
Hopefully,
appreciate.
Justin Parsley lost because that would have
Well,
been great.
well, he was defending the tag team championships against Sean Jovi. Sean Jovi was a part of the.
Then I definitely would have loved to see Sean Jovi win.
But Justin Parsley's the Hall of Fame monitor of Sportswire Radio, so I don't know that
But it's
that
Sean
would be.
Jovi.
Well, that's why I would just say hopefully it'll be a great match and it'll be a no contest, so both men can continue on their merry ways, and that would be great.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm a big fan of Sean Jovi, and
Yeah.
uh, someday I hope we get to meet in the ring. It definitely would be a bucket list thing, I'd
Well,
say.
I tell you what, Sean Jovi's definitely a guy that really is about all wrestling matters, and Justin Parsley, and he's the Hall of Fame monitor of Sports by Radio alongside Soldier GP, and obviously they were in action, and I'm sure that they'll talk about that when the time comes. But we don't know who won because they're wrestling or wrestled as we have been talking. And I'm sure we'll talk about that when the time comes. And she's a big Justin Parsley fan. So just going to have to remind you of that. And Aaron Blaze wants a headline, and that headline would be you and him again somewhere. I mean, what would your thoughts be on that? We talked about you and Maxwell. We're going to talk about Best in the Yard 6 in a minute, but what do you think about you in the headline?
Dude, I would love to face Aaron Blaze again. Now that he has gotten some more ring time and now that he is more comfortable in the ring, I would love to do some stuff that really goes out of his comfort zone and be kind of innovative, you know. And I think, especially with the last match we had and
Yep.
how short that was, and it was so good for how short it was, I can't wait to see what we can do with a lot more time and a lot more things on the line, you know.
And I think with him getting ready to be full time in the ring again, that's coming up. I think a lot of people would like to see that. And there's a lot of matches a lot of people would like to see you in. And that's why we have a YouTube channel where eventually we'll see the Wedding Invitational. I like
Oh,
everybody, if you
yes.
could, hit the sub button because we're at 29 subs. Let's get to 30. Let's get to 31, 32, and so on and so on. That's how we get those numbers up. You can see some past content, some footage that kind of gives you a sense of what could happen at the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational. So please go out there, follow, like, and subscribe. So please do that. And if I could give you all my subscribers, I would. But unfortunately, that's not how it works. But somebody out there in the chat, 30 subs. There you go. You got one. All right, you got one.
Oh,
You got one. Congratulations. There's
I'm
people
gonna have
at
a
home.
30 sub special.
Because people didn't know you had a YouTube page. That's why, at least when I come on Sportzwire, there's always somebody. Listen, we had the WVWF yesterday, and they got two new subs. It was like, and they were talking to guys after the show, like, wow, they were like, I got 2 new subscribers. So that's what it's all about. 1 here, 2 there, 3 there. It's like 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4. That's what gets you the views, and that's all great stuff. And I got something else for you. And I know you've gotten these before, but it's your day again.
Oh,
Congratulations.
another.
There you go.
Oh, sick. Is
I'm
today
gonna
the
give you one.
day?
Chase Wakefield
Oh,
Day. Yep.
yes.
Gotta give it to you.
Today.
Gotta do something. I mean, I gotta give you something. I mean, I know
I
you want to
was
be there at the
waiting.
wedding, but unfortunately, I wasn't in any condition to go. I wish I would have been there.
I
Dan
was waiting
Hansen actually
to.
asked me. He was like, "I thought you were going to be there. Really thought you were going to be there." And I said, "No." I said I had dental surgery a few days earlier, and unfortunately, I couldn't eat and I couldn't swallow right. It was just really like I was spitting blood up until last week. Just
Ooh.
yeah, it was what it was.
It's I always see you giving a lot of these guys their own day, and I'm like, Tom, I haven't received I haven't received the Chase Wakefield Appreciation Day yet, and now we
got it.
finally got it.
I was like, we got to do something. We got to give you something. I mean, I know you're in the Hall of Fame. The show's in the Hall of Fame, but I got to do something. I can't let you go out empty-handed. I mean, that's just how it goes. Yeah, thank you to the headline, and I hope it'll be just as nice when Magnum Carter comes on here. And yeah, congratulations, and definitely support you and support the missus. I hope the missus is doing well, and I hope that she's happily allowing you to be here. But speaking to people I know you're happily not going to want to talk about, but I still got to talk about it. Best, yeah, well, I know you're going to be scared because you're scared of the outcome. I'm talking about Best in the Yard 6, your match with all the Dawn's March members. I'm going to put it up here on the screen. And that's really what I also have to talk about, what's left. And, I mean, how you feeling about that? And especially after what, this guy who's legendary named Silas Walker just continues to do time and time again out there in that ring.
Oh, man. This match, the story behind it meant a lot.
We'll talk about it on here, yep.
For people that don't know, the 4 of us had a faction called the Dawn's March, and in DBW we debuted by defeating Novin, a figure that Jordan Oliver couldn't beat, Mr. Judgment couldn't beat. A lot of these people, it was only
shout out to Jordan. I think he's in the PWI 500 this year, if I'm not mistaken.
He is. He's like top, he's like 150, I think.
Yeah, he's ahead of guys that came on my platform, like Rhino, by the way, and guys I talked about like Darius Carter, who actually said on X that I'm 199 this year, and he like was happy about it, but not happy about it, if that makes sense. So congratulations to Jordan Oliver.
Yes, and I got to meet Jordan Oliver at a NUW show years and years ago, and he's such a great
And James
kid,
Fury
very
was just
humble.
over there too, by the way. I'm sure you a
And
man
that
you know
that
very
was
well.
crazy. I
Yeah,
saw
I
him on that
know.
poster, and I was like, "Oh my God, MEBW invading NUW.
Yeah.
This is crazy."
Yep. Yeah.
Um, but this match, leading into it, there was so much history between the four of us. And though the match in many ways didn't go in my favor, I got injured in this match. I messed up my tailbone and my leg. My tailbone actually got a slight fracture from this. And it's funny, it was actually the first move in the whole show, I mean, this whole match, that I fractured my tailbone on. And I was in myself, I was very disappointed with how I performed. Um, the match was great. There's a lot that needed to be done. Like here, this is one part of the injury to my leg, actually. That's kind of funny that it just popped up. Um, no, if I didn't get hurt, maybe things would have went a whole different way.
Mm.
I might have been the winner. I might have been the victor in this if I didn't get hurt. But best in the yard meant a lot to me, not just someone who has been on Best in the Yard, been a part of the main event of Best in the Yard with Aaron Jones and Mr. Judgment, but being a fan as well, because I watched BTW for a few years before I even joined the roster back in
Yeah, Comatose
2018.
talked about that on here in a previous episode too. He talked about watching the shows in VTW. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, and whenever I got invited to go to Union back in 2018, being in the ring with Cage was something very super memorable to me, and I'm very thankful that even back then they saw the potential I had, and now to what I'm doing in BTW now, uh, being one of the most talked about guys on that roster. Always when I was on the camera, there was something that always happened that was memorable, and I'm just very glad that I was able to take part in, hopefully, not hopefully, but the last Best in the Yard, because we always say that this is going to be the last, but then we come up say, hey, why don't we do another
But
one?
you know that happens in anything in sports or in wrestling. That oh, this is going to be it. This is going to be the last time. But you just got to keep going. I mean, it's just and especially what you guys got in the reaction 80 something likes on YouTube, thousands of views. I mean, all the positivity you guys got in your match itself and so many others. Just what you guys continue to do. That's why you guys are some of the very best in the yard of this generation. I think that's
Yeah.
a point that's really going to be when we look at and why you guys stand the test of time.
Yeah, and if you look back at the whole all-time roster when it comes to Best in the Yard, there's a lot of people that really truly made it
Yep.
in the pro wrestling scene, like KJ Orso, for example, Jordan
Yep.
Oliver, of
I
course.
spoke about KJ 2 days ago on Sportswire with Dave Jameson. Dave was a big
Yes,
topic on here. Yep.
and actually Silas actually went to that show that
Yes.
day, and KJ went
For a
that day.
company that was unfortunately or a promoter that went, but yeah, that was a match that he got a chance to see. You're welcome.
And I remember Silas actually was talking to KJ about the wedding invitational, and he was
Oh
saying
yeah,
how awesome it was to have this be a thing. And
yeah.
I thought you would have forgot about me because, with someone that has wrestled so many people, met so many people, sometimes you think, oh,
You
you
big
might
time
be an
you.
afterthought.
Yeah, yeah.
But he remembered me, and it was really cool to hear that he loved the concept of the wedding invitational. I wish he could have came, but he's one of the most busiest guys that
Oh
I
yeah. I
know.
mean GCW. He just got announced for a show there.
He was GCW, ROH.
Yep.
I, he's done so much stuff that I'm very proud of what he has done, especially with this new character that he's
Yep.
been doing.
Yep. Yeah.
Such
No.
good work.
Listen. Absolutely. No. Listen. And you guys have had Jordan Oliver. Congratulations to him. He's wrestled in Scotland. I mean, I talked about Jordan Oliver like 2 years ago. He came up. He did a tour, like I said, in Scotland for a couple of companies I've worked with in the past. So I mean, amazing talents, and you guys have certainly been a part of that legacy. And Silas Walker seems to be making his own legendary legacy, huh?
Oh, for sure, and he's definitely, for someone that has been doing this for as long as he has, he continues to stay relevant through everything. He always tries to innovate himself and come up with new ways to just keep his
Because he's
character
a student
fresh.
in the game. He's a chameleon. That's why.
Exactly, and he's as I wouldn't say slimy as a chameleon because chameleons aren't slimy, but I I think I think right now Silas is on a run. He's at the highest he's ever been at, especially even with all the old UWE and APW days. He's probably the best that he's ever been at right now.
I mean, all the guys you're wrestling. I mean, look at what Brandon has done with the DBW Championship. I mean, we know what Ace Christian has done, the WDWA, and I mean, you at the Wedding Invitational. I mean, all four of you have just accomplished so much here of late. It's really you guys. I mean, have certainly Dawn's marched your way to some really big things.
Yeah, and we all took completely different paths, and that's what's so cool about us four as a group is we all rode together, and now we're all veering to different directions, especially with Ace,
And you
who,
just veered him into a different direction just there. Just saying.
yes, and he's gotten praise from guys like Doc Gallows, Eric Young.
Yep.
He's getting a lot of names that know
Yeah, we
him
talked
now.
about that when he was here in the summer. He was going to be on that show where he won the light heavyweight championship. Sure.
Yeah, and I was actually at that show too, and it was really cool to see him win his first independent title, and
Yep.
especially for a company like WDWA,
Oh my
who's
God, what a
very
company.
he WDWA is very high reputable, especially
Yep.
in that area.
Yep.
So there's so much that he can do, and he just has to keep going. And I think he'll truly be a star in the future. Hell, him and RJ at the Wedding Invitational, since that was a match that's already been known about, that was such a phenomenal match too. We had to open the show, and what a great show opener that
Oh, I'm
was.
sure that people are going to be dying to watch that. Another guy that, I mean, Battlefield Pro Wrestling, you mentioned Savage. I mean, his matches with Savage. And I mean, that's a guy that, certainly you've have plenty of experience with. And I think that that's going
Yes.
to be a match that a lot of people are going to be really salivating to see whenever that the
Yeah,
Wedding Invitational comes to your YouTube channel.
for sure. And I just can't wait to see um, what everything will come to after the Wedding Invitational goes live. Because
For
there's
sure.
there's a lot of seeds being planted for 2026. And
Oh, yeah. You already talked about it here at the beginning of the show. Oh, I'm going to go out and do maybe more of this. And I mean, you kind of just slipped it in right there. And by the way, you just slipped right through in there and just did that. That was impressive. And Silas, like a chameleon, comes out there and tries to pick up the pieces. But that's what you do best. Your video game like maneuvers and led you to even with what you just told us about an injury. You certainly did plenty there and gave it all you had. I think that's would be exciting to see more of this in the future and more opportunities. And I think that the Wedding Invitation, whatever you'll decide to call it, whether you'll keep the name or whatever it might be, I'm sure it's going to be really exciting to see what will transform from this.
oh yeah, for sure. And it's definitely something that um It's definitely what I think my next step in my career will be. I know I'm not going to be able to do this forever, so if I can
Well, why
keep,
not? I mean, listen, James Taylor's going out there and he's wrestling and he's talking about doing this for years. And I mean, there's plenty of people. I mean, sure, there's other people. You know, Dalton Skull is announcing his in-ring retirement. Darkron's on the farewell tour. I mean, we have Austin Edwards, who was in your chair last week, who's talked about that he's ending his career in December. I mean, there are certain people that, yes, that they are going to end their in-ring careers, but there are others like James Taylor that are in their 40s and they just are going to keep going till maybe who knows how long.
yeah, it's something I wish I could keep going on for forever, but when my body knows, my body
Yeah.
knows, and it's starting to get to that point, I'd say. And if I wanted to keep going with wrestling, I think this would be, even if I'd say, for example, would call my retirement this year or anything like that, I think this would be a great next step when it comes to me wanting to still be part of the business.
Yeah, no, you know what? And I think that that's what wrestling does provide. You can do other things aside from being in the ring, whether that's promoting, whether that's doing this, whether it's maybe doing refereeing or managing, but you have a unique opportunity to do that. And I think ways to do that will be going out there and following Chase Wakefield on Instagram. Also, going out there, hitting the sub button for me on his YouTube channel, because that's where eventually you're going to see more from this with the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational. You'll see maybe whatever happens here in VTW. VTW Mania will be out there down the road, and there's plenty of things to talk about, and especially Silas Walker and what he's done, and maybe even that DBW championship will be in his sights because he could get that opportunity very soon when DBW returns. I mean, I know who knows what happens in DBW, but that's kind of where we're going toward before we sign off.
I can agree more. That I was just watching the match. That chop
Yeah.
block that Silas gave,
What a heck of
it's
a he's
was
just one of he's one of my favorites that I get a chance to talk about in the underground. Just one of the guys that just a student of the game, always does
he's
something
so
new. Arsenal's
he's
always
so
improving.
innovative.
Yeah, he's Arsenal. I mean, just it's always just evolving. I mean, he's a true innovator. I'm going to say it. He's the innovator of the underground. That's what Chase Wakefield. That's what Silas Walker is. He is the innovator of the underground because this guy always has something new in his arsenal, something else out there. Look at what he does here. The ring savviness. That's why he is where he is today, and maybe more gold. And this time, a DBW World Championship may be in his sights, and that's why we're going to see more of him in DBW very soon.
Yeah, I definitely can't wait to see. Even though me and Silas have had our history, I can't wait to see what he does next. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely a lot there. Please support VTW as well. If you want to watch the historic Best in the Yard 6, and VTW is rolling on to 5,000 subscribers. Whoa, what an amazing accomplishment. You want to talk about views? VTW has them. And I remember when they were at like 2,000 subs. Now they're almost at 5,000 subs.
We're
Where does the money?
skyrocketing.
I tell you what, mark my words, VTW will hit 10,000 subs. I don't know when, but when you get to 5, you know what they say. Every like 1,000, you hit like new algorithms, and the algorithms are
Oh
gonna,
yeah.
I think, continue to go up for VTW. So please support VTW. Please support DBW. Please support Chase Wakefield on his YouTube channel, where you can find out more information on the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational. I know that you've obviously got to now be a good husband here soon because the missus is sitting in the other room and obviously wants you to watch a movie or do something that you two may love to do, which I'm not going to ask you about. But is there anything else you want to talk about, whether it's about the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational or anything we didn't get a chance to talk about here tonight on your
Uh,
day?
yeah, sure. The we will be releasing a teaser trailer soon for
Okay.
the show. And I can't wait for everyone to see what the Wedding Invitational has to offer. And I hope everyone will be excited for Blank Slate Wrestling in 2026.
Blank Slate Wrestling. Okay, I don't know if that's a name or a thing, but well, that sounds interesting. Chase Wakefield is not done. He is not done with the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational, and he is inviting the public on a worldwide platform, to quote William Renee, that we will see more of what Chase Wakefield decides to do. That's going to take place here coming up whenever the time is. But in the meantime, you've got to go hit the sub button for me for Chase Wakefield's YouTube channel, where you will see eventually the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational, the likes of RJ Carnage, the likes of Silas Walker, the likes of the Heartless Sheriff, Colton Lee, Anton Nathan, Van Hansen, Peanut Butter and Jealous, Brandon Castelli, Aaron Jones, I'm sure a slew of others, and there'll be some headlines, I'm sure, that we'll talk about. And also Chase Wakefield, you can check out on Copper Dragon's Instagram page and his TikTok page, because he rated his match with Maxwell Reeves, a generational match. It was a generational match, which we spent plenty of talk about here on Sportswire Radio. And I know Maxwell will be back at some point this year, and I would really, really recommend you watch that match on the BCW YouTube page, but also check out Copper's review. Really good review, really in depth, and I hope to see more matches like that. And I think Copper wants to see it as well. So great stuff there. I can't wait to see what the future is. Congratulations to you and the missus. I'm going to pass the baton to you, because I know that the missus now really wants you to, I'm sure, watch a movie or do something, and you have stuff to do. So let me pass the baton to you one more time, sir, on your day, and the floor is now yours. And I can't wait to next time see you, hopefully with the Wedding Invitational out there, and we can watch along a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure. And thank you again for having me. And I can't wait to show everyone what is next for Chase Wakefield. Whether it be in VTW, DBW, of course the Wedding Invitational, maybe even BCW, maybe
BCW, I'll be
even
excited about that. Copper Dragon wants it.
maybe even YBW. You never know.
Wow, YBW, listen. I mean, ATK is there. I mean, the hit markers going against Dom, and Dom's amazing run. We're gonna, I'm sure, talk a lot about that in the coming weeks. And I mean, Magnum Carter, the MC of the 1-2-3. I mean, listen, YBW is right around the corner. So who knows? I mean, you could go show up anywhere. EWA, listen, you be in Cleveland.
UWA. Yeah, and there's so many opportunities ahead, and I can't wait to explore them. And this is one of my favorite photos of the whole wedding. I can't wait to show people how that photo happened, and it's gonna be very memorable.
Oh, I think when you have a wedding invitational like this, it's going to be memorable. Oh, it's going to be something that I would venture to say safely we're going to talk about at the end of the year or before that, hopefully. And it's crazy. Actually, the year is almost over. October is on Wednesday. And, that's a crazy thing to think about. Time is flying. I remember when we spoke about this concept late last year, and here we are almost at it. But if you'd like to follow Chase, please do so on his Instagram page. That's where you can find out more of what he'll be up to. You can also, I'm sure, see some footage coming up about VTW and DBW, and certainly the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational and other stuff out there. So please support him. And it's also, one more time, his day. And congratulations there, my friend. And I certainly can't wait to see what the future is. And too bad you didn't ask Sergeant Slaughter about showing up to the wedding, but that's okay. He was busy.
That was way before we had that idea.
I know. I threw it out there as kind of a funny joke, but but at least KJ Orso knew about it, and he gave his support, which is always a good thing. Yeah. So definitely good stuff there. But my friend, I want to thank you as always. Thank you for all that you do for us here. And congratulations on the married life, and our best to the missus. Maybe we'll give the missus a day one of these days sometime on Sportswire, but maybe we'll have to see what happens at that wedding invitational. But I'm saying nothing. I know nothing. The only thing I know is that there can't be no other way tonight, because Chase Wakefield returned on Sportswire Radio now as Mr. Janie Wakefield, and that's why you're going to have to tune in when he comes back next. But my friend, no, seriously, thank you. We love you. Congratulations, and our best wishes to the missus. And we'll see you here very soon.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, that was the Bitcoin billionaire who we think is still a Bitcoin billionaire, maybe worth $5. But don't worry, Bitcoin is still worth something. But he is now a married man. He talked about what we could maybe see potentially down the road for the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitation. We'll also see some shows potentially coming out of this in 2026. Stay tuned for more on that. We'll also see what happens with Chase Wakefield in places like VTW, DBW, or even BCW, because Copper Dragon rated him and gave him a 5.5, and maybe we'll see some more 9.95 in that ratings. But who knows? That's a almost a synopsis or an ode to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles original soundtrack. But we ain't no heroes in a half shell. We're here with the Bitcoin billionaire. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. Your voice, figuratively and literally, with all music and wrestling matters. We'll be here probably about 9:15 tomorrow with Magnum Carter, the MC of the 123, to give you the breakout or the fallout from the next YBW show, which is airing at 6 p.m. tomorrow. So shout out to the gang, and you won't want to miss that. And until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the number one Global Radio. This is the Sportswire Radio, where all music and wrestling matters. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. We'll